All right, have you filed your taxes yet? Well, if not, there isn't much time left. We are just 1 week away from the deadline, which is April 18th. So joining us now is Bill Leavitt. He's the president of Bridgelight Financial Advisors out of Shelton with some tips for these last-minute filers. So thanks so much for joining us, Bill. To start off, what advice do you have for the people who still haven't quite gotten around to filing?
Well, thanks for having me. First off, you want to make sure you take the time to put together all your records. We're really close to the deadline. And, some people just don't have the time to make it, if you will, to the deadline. So they have the ability to do an extension. And that extension goes until October 16th. So you want to make sure that you file an extension, you have it in, and you do it in time to make sure that you file your return before the end of the year.
It's good to know about that extension option. How concerned should people be if they haven't filed yet? Anything that they can do to prevent a last-minute scramble?
Well, I think one of the things they need to do is if they do need to file an extension, they need to understand that they still have to pay their taxes. So they should do their best estimate, make a payment. Our typical tax filing this year is the 18th. We don't have the extensions we've had in the last couple of years. So make sure you understand that you still need to make that payment by the 18th. Do your best estimate to get it in.
And if you do file later in the tax season, what can you expect regarding your return?
Well, you can file your return like you typically would. You have up until the October 16th to be able to do it. You may end up getting some penalties. The IRS does charge penalties. They charge late fees. That's why I encourage anyone who needs to file late to make sure that they try to make a payment as much as they can to be accurate, because the IRS expects you to pay.
Are there any changes in the tax code that people should be aware of as they prepare to file?
Yeah, we've actually had some pretty good tax changes. First of all, the standard deductions that we are experiencing now are some of the highest we've ever had, and this year they've increased. So a single filer for this year, or last year for 2022, will have a standard deduction of $12,900, and a joint filer, if you're married filing jointly, or you're filing jointly, they have a $25,900 standard deduction, which means they're not going to pay any taxes on the first $25,900. But just be aware that some people may end up in different tax brackets, and they have to understand the impact of that, because they might not end up getting the kind of refund that they otherwise would expect. And lastly, for those who have kids, they're getting it. They got a pretty nice child tax credit in the last couple of years. That was $3,000. That's getting reduced down this year. So just be aware that there may be an impact there, and talk to your tax preparers about it.
All right, some really good information for people who are looking to get this done in the next few days. Bill Leavitt with Bridgelight Financial Advisors, thank you so much for offering these tax tips today.
Thanks for having me.